I'm joined now by Sam Ataya. He's the CEO of Western Magnesium Corp. Sam, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hey, Sam, I noticed that you recently raised $5 million in a non-brokered private placement. You don't see that happening too much these days in the junior mining space, especially not in the magnesium space. What is it about Western Magnesium that attracted this company to your project, and what's your project all about?
Thank you for that. To start with, people have viewed us as a mining corporation, and really, in fact, we're a technology corporation. We view ourselves as a technology corporation, and it's our technology that's enabling us to eventually produce magnesium metal. So I think what the company is seeing and what investors are seeing nowadays is that this isn't a mining play, it's a technology play that happens to be associated with mining. Obviously, for our purposes, in extracting magnesium metal, we're extracting it from dolomite, and hence the idea that we're a mining company. But really, we're very much a technology company.
Okay, so tell me about the process and the technology that is your main differentiator then.
I think there were three aspects to the technology. When we started out 9 years ago, it was an issue of we needed to meet three conditions that we felt were very, very important for us to really produce magnesium metal in North America, because it's been lost over the years. So those three conditions were, first of all, we had to be economically viable. Can we compete with other producers, especially China? In the world today, there's only 1 million metric tons of magnesium metal being produced. 85 to 87% of that is being produced by China. So they're the major world supplier at the moment. So we have to be able to compete economically with them in North America and go toe-to-toe. Number two, the technology had to be scalable, because today, the process of producing magnesium metal is labor intensive and still toxic. And so we had to be able to scale the technology so we can put it in cities, small towns. We didn't just have to build big behemoth plants all the time. And thirdly, really the focus of zero waste and close to zero toxicity in building the plant. And to meet EPA standards, and to meet environmental concerns all over the world, we really felt that in producing magnesium metal, we could not go back to the old formula and just produce it in toxic ways. So those were the three conditions that the process had to resolve, and we did. We're quite proud of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then how do you monetize this technology?
In what sense? How do we monetize it?
Well,
you think in
if the company is not a mining company, you're producing magnesium through a technology. How are you actually selling magnesium then as a finished product?
That is correct. So we can sell it in ingot form, bar form, or molten form. Really, we don't have to even mine dolomite. Dolomite is the seventh most abundant material in the world. It's cheap. And we don't need a dolomite pit every time we open up a plant. In fact, we can ship the dolomite to the plant anywhere in the United States. And by the way, that is our focus. Our focus is just the United States. We're dealing with U.S. customers and big clients like the auto industry, aerospace industry, construction, even government and U.S. military. So our focus is very much the United States. And in regards to dolomite, we can either mine it if we have a spot or a plant that's next to it, or we can bring it in and extract the magnesium metal from it.
Mm-hmm. I see that your the projects where you source, I guess, your dolomite. I'm looking at the Tamimosi project right now. Is that a dolomite project that contains 12% magnesium, and is that typical of dolomite?
Dolomite has varying percentages of magnesium. It could be 9% up to 14%, depends on the dolomite. And in the case of the Tamimosi, it's a site that we control. It's in Nevada. It's a very large site. It's about an 8-mile stretch. And we've had an independent 43-101 done on the site, or at a certain part of the site. and there's an inferred 111 billion pounds of magnesium in there. And that is a site that we have kept and that we keep under control. And at this point, our philosophy isn't necessarily to develop that site, but to keep that as a control of supply chain, meaning that in case we could not get dolomite from anywhere else, in case the world market all of a sudden became too expensive, we have our own supply, and it keeps things in check. Mm-hmm. And one day, by the way, we might move ahead and definitely develop that site.
Sure. Okay, so then how do the economics of your business work presently? What is your cost per unit of production, and what is your sale price per unit of production, gross margin, and net income?
Oh, those are all very good questions. We're still coming to terms with that. Obviously, our biggest priority right now is to build the first commercialized, we call it the reactor, that will be producing with our new continuous process, the magnesium metal. So all those factors are still being outlined and not yet ready to release to the public. But based on the testing that we've done, based on the 9 years of work that we've done, we feel that we will be very competitive. However, giving you a price right now, all of those are changing as we build the process, as we build the technology, and we start producing. Those factors will continuously change.
Sure. So on what basis did you achieve a $5 million investment from a private U.S. firm? I'm just curious, like, you must have pretty good data for these guys to step up and write a big check like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's actually, when you look at it, it's in the magnesium world, there are not a lot of producers that are out there. So magnesium metal has become a very strategic metal and a very important metal for its lightweight. It is 80% lighter than steel, 33% lighter than aluminum. And whether it's the auto industry, airline industry, whether it's aerospace, you name it, even military, the need for lightweight materials is more important than ever. U.S. government just signed an executive order 3817, which put it on the 32 most critical metals list. And they did that because competition around the world, if you're producing cars, airplanes, missiles, whatever you're producing, if they have lightweight materials, they're certainly going to outpace what we're producing here in the United States. Mm-hmm. So it's what investors are seeing is they know that this has become a big issue. They know that lightweight material has become a big issue, and they're looking at who is in a position to get to the finish line faster. We've set up over the last 9 years and have a good structure, and it's that structure that they're responding to. The team that we have in place, the executives that we have in place, and the expertise that we have in place to produce the metal is what's giving confidence to the market.
Can you tell me, is the supply and demand metrics of the magnesium market, are they balanced? Is supply outstripping demand or vice versa? And do the prices reflect that for magnesium right now?
Oh, I think that the demand is extremely high. In fact, the biggest problem has been and continues to be supply. As I mentioned before, the world production is 1 million metric tons. However, if you take the auto industry, Ford, GM, Chrysler, just for cars made in the United States, they would require 10 times that amount. They would require about 10 million metric tons per year to produce that amount of cars. There simply is not enough being produced. Mm-hmm. And the bigger problem is that there are not enough plants. And even if we started today, we could not address all the needs for auto industry, aerospace, so forth and so on. So this is a long-term build out that will require real capital investment, but it is needed. They need it. And if the supply was there, most certainly they'd be using it. So the issues are supply. The issue is purely supply.
Okay. And so finally, how will Western Magnesium, what's the timeline until you're able to, participate and supply a big chunk of that missing piece?
Well, our goal is to our goal is to start building plants across the United States. That rollout is going to be over a 10 to 15 year period. I think that you will see us starting to produce magnesium in about a 24-month period. The planning is right now, we're identifying different sites where we're going to put our technologies and start producing magnesium. Of course, you have to go through all the necessary regulatory checks to allow you to start producing. And so that's what the delay is. But in 24 months, we feel that we will be producing magnesium metal. And from there, it's building out plants as we go along. And I have to tell you, the demand will continue to outpace the development for quite a while. That is simply going to happen because most plants produce a maximum of about 100,000 metric tons per year. So us having to build really big plants to begin with to start producing anywhere from 100 to 500,000 metric tons, that is not an easy thing to do. But we will get there. It's just a rollout that we have to have in place.
Okay, great, Sam. We're going to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in due course. I wish you the best of luck, and I can't wait to see their process in action.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity today.
You bet.